What is going on, guys? It is the Frost, and we are here for NXT UK review, results, talk, discussion as we go. I've watched over the last few days all 6 episodes since the last time I did a review, which was, of course, at the end of the first set of tapings. If anybody's wondering why there are 2 episodes a week, and there have been 2 episodes a week since week 3, is because of these tapings right here. This set of tapings was all about the UK Women's Championship and the fact that we had a tournament going on from episode 2 of this taping to the end, the final episode, which had a main event of the finalists for the NXT UK Women's Championship, and that was decided in a good match, but we'll get to that later. The show started off with Triple H and Johnny Sane and 8 women, and those women were Zaya Brookside, Millie McKenzie, who is not signed to a UK deal. She was just there to fill a spot, which I don't know why they had Millie McKenzie come in for this tournament, because there is one mission from this set of women superstars that I think should have been in the tournament, but she wasn't. That is Killer Kelly. I think she should have had the spot that Millie McKenzie had, but that is neither here nor there. Isla Dawn, Dakota Kai, Toni Storm, Ginny, Rhea Ripley, and Nina Samuels. That was your 8 for the field of this tournament. You could have took out Nina Samuels too. I think Killer Kelly should have been in that tournament, and I believe in episode 11 she teamed with, I can't remember who she teamed with, to take on Millie McKenzie, or she teamed with Millie McKenzie. So it's like, why was Killer Kelly not in this tournament? I don't know. I knew she wasn't going to win, but I think that was an opportunity that should have went to Killer Kelly. Of course, I will also have to say that the ring apron has been updated, because the first set of tapings, they used the NXT, the black and yellow NXT logo apron instead of what they have now, which is black apron with a red X and the NXT UK logo. So a nice little update. Sid Scala versus Jordan Devlin was our first match of the show. This was Sid Scala's best showing so far. As you remember, he was the first victim of what they are calling now Bomber Dave Mastiff. I don't know where that nickname came from. I don't know why they decided we're just going to start calling him Bomber. But he was, of course, the first victim of Dave Mastiff's run on the NXT UK division. This was his best match, Jordan Devlin. When I first saw Jordan Devlin in the UK title tournament last year and earlier this year, just really didn't show me enough to really impress me as anything special. He felt like, and he still looked like, and looks like a miniature version of Finn Balor, and Finn Balor is not a big dude, so that's saying something. Jordan Devlin picked up the win here. There's a reason Jordan Devlin's getting pushed right now, because he has a match later on in the episodes against the UK champion Pete Dunne. That match was great. We'll talk about that later. Devlin is interviewed and asked, have we seen the real Jordan Devlin? He says, don't make me laugh. I don't care if these people know it's the real me. All I'm concerned with is knowing who I am. Makes fun of Ligero, because Ligero, outside of the UK, when he was wrestling for the Fight Wrestling and other promotions, he was billed from Los Santos, Mexico, and the Mexican Sensation. He was pretty much the British version of El Generico, if I'm correct. He was a caricature of an actual masked luchador. WWE stripped that away from him and now bills him from Leeds and actually has him talk in his actual accent instead of being a Mexican wrestler who speaks Spanish. He says, he makes fun of Ligero and is like, I know who I am, but who the hell does Ligero think? This guy wears a mask, but he's from Leeds. That sets up for a match in a couple of weeks, I believe 2 weeks after. Kenny Williams and Amir Jordan versus Saxon Huxley and Joseph Connors. Huxley and Connors win this one. I'm not going over, I was more focused on the Women's Championship tournament in this entire thing, but we will talk about, from here on, after this set of tapings is over, as we go on, I will have a more in-depth as we go. Saxon Huxley and Joseph Connors wrestled and won this one. Amir Jordan and Kenny Williams, even though Kenny Williams has the nickname of the Lucky Inn, and I have no idea who came up with that nickname. Anybody who knows any little bit of Kenny Williams on the independent circuits, he is a massive Back to the Future fan. He is like Kushida from New Japan, who was also a Back to the Future fan. I remember those two wrestling in a What Culture Pro Wrestling I think it was the quarterfinals, the semifinals of that World Cup, where those two wrestled, and it was the battle of the Back to the Future fans. WWE, of course, stripped that away from him, and now he is the Luckian coming out, and those coming out with old school OG 3D glasses, and those things actually have lenses in them, and I'm sure that's a headache coming to the ring every single week that he wrestles, or every time he wrestles with those things on. Since we will know, I do know for the next set of tapings, which will start next week, that we have the UK tag team titles being introduced, but they will not be decided until we get to Blackpool, which this entire set of tapings, the two episodes a week, will not conclude, and we will not get back to one episode a week for NXT UK until after Blackpool. It's just that simple. We had Tyler Bate versus James Drake. What a good match that was. Tyler Bate ends up picking up the win. These two will have more to come as we get further and further down this show. And then in the main event, we had Ashton Smith versus Wolfgang. This was a good match too. Ashton Smith put up a hell of a fight, but Wolfgang ends up winning this match. So an okay show for the first episode. They did not have the UK Women's Championship tournament start until the following episode. We started off with Dakota Kai versus Nina Samuels. This was a good match. Nina Samuels, you knew she was not going to do anything. Both women lock up, and Samuels with an upper hand to start the match. Samuels taunts Kai, then grabs her and just rings her around, but Kai gets out of that, and then a running kick followed by a stomp for a 2 count. Samuel strips Kai off the top rope, gets a 2 count off of that. Samuel stretches Kai on the ropes, and a drop kick to Kai for a 2 count. Kai grabs her back in pain. That became a focus of this match, and I think future matches, in the next match too, that she would have against her opponent. And Samuel's all over that with a knee to the back of Kai, putting her in the stretch, knee to the back, stretching her arms backwards. Kai tries to escape, but Samuel stomps that. Kai does get out of it, and eventually, but a tilt-a-whirl backbreaker by Nina Samuels for a 2 count. Samuel puts Kai in the Goy special, crowd behind Kai all the way. Birmingham, they were in Birmingham, England, and Birmingham brought their best. This was just a hell of a show between the entire set of tapings were great, because Birmingham, you could tell that Birmingham wanted this person to win, or that person to win, or this person to lose, and that person to lose. They let you know, and they wear their hearts on their sleeves. That's why I'm saying the UK, and everyone knows that UK is one of the best crowds for wrestling out there. Kai gets out of the Goy special, flips her around, and gets a 2 count. Punch to the chest of Kai. Now Kai with rights to Samuels, then an overhead kick. Drop kick by Kai, followed by a face wash in the corner. The crescent moon, a Luba kick, then a chiropractor for the 3 count, and Dakota Kai makes it to the semi-finals. Mark Andrews is in the back, and he's talking to, I can't get his name right. Asked about what's next for him, and because he's done with Wolfgang and the Coffee Brothers, and he says that he wants some tag. He just wants NXT UK Gold. Flash Morgan Webster comes in, and he wants gold too. And he suggests that there's tag team titles that have yet to be introduced, which we'll talk about those on the next review when we do. They should go for the tag team gold, and Andrews agrees. Will they be future tag team champions? We don't know yet. Just victim number 1 for Tyson T-Bone. Tyson T-Bone wins this one. This is a squash match. Tyson T-Bone is not happy about this squash match because he gets on the mic and asks, "Is that the best the UK has to offer me? It's just a joke," drops the mic and leaves. As he's leaving, Dave Mastiff is out here. Dave Mastiff and him have a nice little stare down, and Dave Mastiff says, "The best of the UK, just watch this." So Tyson T-Bone gets to the top of the ramp while Dave Mastiff takes on Dan Maloney, or as I like to call him, victim number 3. Dave Mastiff was this one. Who do you think was going to win this one? I mean, come on. Dave Mastiff beats him down, and then wins with the cannonball in the corner for the 1-2-3. These two will have a match in I think it's 2 episodes from now. But Dave Mastiff, definitely a hard hitter, and I could not wait to see these two go to blows. Then we had Ginny versus Millie McKenzie, as Nigel McGuinness and the crowd like to know. Suplex Millie. Crowd was hot for Millie McKenzie. They definitely want to see her win this match. Ginny with a headlock to start the match. McKenzie gets out of that and nails a few forearm shots. McKenzie with a running elbow to Ginny. Ginny in the corner reeling. McKenzie is pulled off Ginny as she is attacking her in the corner. Ginny gets up and hits a flatliner to Millie McKenzie into the corner for a 2 count. Ginny with a fist to Millie McKenzie. Ginny tries McKenzie's face into the mat. Chin bar by Ginny. Reversal by Ginny into a surfboard. Submission, but McKenzie gets the ropes. Ginny pulls back on the arm and stomps on McKenzie for a 2 count. Spear by McKenzie for a 2. German by one German suplex, then a second one for a 2 count. Crowd hoping that Millie McKenzie would win this match. Millie tries again, but Ginny gets out of it. Japanese arm drag into the ropes, followed by a ripcord rolling kick for the 3 count, and just like that, Ginny moves on to face either Toni Storm or Isla Dawn. Toni Storm versus Isla Dawn. That match we'll talk about later, because that match just we'll talk about it. And then we had Zach Gibson versus Trent Seven. This match was a really good match, but as I said before, James Drake and Tyler Bate were not done with each other, because Tyler Bate's out there watching, and I guess he's helping Trent Seven in this match a little bit. Then all of a sudden, out comes James Drake. He shoves Tyler Bate into the steel steps. That causes Zach Gibson to roll up Trent Seven, but the referee is out of position, looking at the shoulders of Trent Seven. Behind the referee's back, James Drake grabs Gibson's arm to allow him to get the 1, 2, 3. James Drake and Zach Gibson are looking to be a new force in NXT UK. As they walk off, the Wolfgang and the alliance of Wolfgang and the Coffees come out and beat down Mustache Mountain. Joe puts a half crab on Trent Seven while the others make Tyler Bate watch. Bate tries to fight back, but he is laid out by all 3 men. Post-show on the WWE's YouTube page channel, they did show a post-show beatdown where the team of Wolfgang and the Coffee Brothers are beating down Trent Seven and Tyler Bate. They actually take one of those carts, those rolling cases, and they drop it onto the bad knee of Trent Seven, and he's screaming in pain. He's like lost. He's losing it. He's pissed. He's like telling him to get it off of him. Joe Coffey stomps on it one more time as they fade that to black. So Trent Seven is compromised once again. Episode 9 starts off with Xia Brookside versus Rhea Ripley as we get further into the UK Women's Championship Tournament. Brookside wants a handshake. Ripley shoves her off and says, "Really? I'm not going to shake her hand," and drops Brookside down. Brookside fights back, but Ripley just stops that and lays her out, then works on the arm of Brookside. Brookside flips out and tries to whip Ripley. Say that 10 times. But Ripley whips her into the corner. Brookside spins out and looks to boot Ripley, but Ripley catches her and lifts her up and then hits her with a buckle bomb. Ripley gets a 2 count. Ripley starts kicking Brookside, then a face wash by Ripley, and some more shots to Brookside. Brookside fights back, but Ripley with a knee to the gut. Standing suplex by Ripley for a 2 count. Let's go. Xia chance for look to enrage Ripley, who drops Brookside and then hits a drop kick, which I gotta say, Rhea Ripley just does a pretty good drop kick. Someone of her size and her wrestling style, a drop kick doesn't seem like it'd be something in her repertoire. I can't say it, repertoire, but she does it real well. Due to how good Rhea Ripley's doing, we start hearing "Let's go Xia, let's go Rhea" chants from the crowd. So people are starting to, come around a little bit for Rhea Ripley. Ripley, and I've never seen this done before. Rhea Ripley, she did this in every match that she was in this tournament. She takes the legs, looks like she's going to do a Texas cloverleaf, but she's on, instead of having them underneath of her with the back to her, she lifts them up with them facing in front of them and just hangs them with her holding their legs. She did it to Xia Brookside. I'm like, I've never seen anybody do that before. Brookside tries to get to the ropes, but Ripley stops that. Brookside then swings out, and Ripley falls into the corner. Jaw dropped by Brookside, then a bulldog. Ripley is rocked. Head scissor takedown by Brookside, then double knees to the back of Ripley's head. Brookside dives off the top rope, but gets caught into the riptide for the 1-2-3. Rhea Ripley wins this match, and out of the 2 matches I have seen for Xia Brookside so far, this one is leagues better than the match that she had against Io Shirai in the first round of the Mae Young Classic, where Xia Brookside was pretty much just fed to Io Shirai. This was definitely, out of those 2 matches, the best match she's had so far. Post-match, Rhea Ripley stomps on Brookside a little bit, then poses as the show replays. Then Ripley does a little bye-bye like you would see Tommaso Ciampa do to Brookside, and we move on. James Drake and Zach Gibson are asked about why Gibson was helped last week. Gibson says the tag team titles are coming to Drake and Gibson because these two have been friends for... This wasn't no just mere coincidence. We've been friends for years, like 10 years or so. It was just a friend helping a friend, and those tag team titles are coming to us. So, even though the tag team titles aren't even displayed yet, you have the Coffee Brothers, you have Mustache Mountain, and now you have Zach Gibson and James Drake. Out of, quite honestly, NXT, normal NXT has a good tag team division, women's division, and in North America, all of their titles are stacked. NXT UK has a stacked main UK title division, a stacked women's division. The tag team division is lacking a little bit. Quite honestly, I think that the Danny Burch and Oney Lorcan team should be sent over to the UK division. And that would bolster it a little bit, because you have two heel tag teams now that are probably going to be sticking around. I guess Ashton Smith and Kenny Williams, and you have Saxon Huxley and Joseph Connors at this time. But let's see if those teams are still together by the end of this taping. Eddie Dennis versus Jack Stars before this show. Eddie Dennis and Ashton Smith and having a little back and forth in the back. Eddie Dennis asked Ashton Smith to watch this match. Eddie Dennis, of course, this is just another squash match. I'm not going to go into it much because there's really not much. Jack Stars refused to stay down. Eddie Dennis is I'm over this, and hits him with his finisher for the 1-2-3. I still cannot get over the fact that Eddie Dennis, when he was being introduced in the first set of tapings, you just hear this guy talk about how Pete Dunne and Mark Andrews are his friends, and I expected him to be about in the same height area of Mark Andrews and Pete Dunne. No, this guy is one tall sucker, and I just wonder, because the entire build-up to Eddie Dennis coming to NXT UK, he's talking about how he's friends with Pete Dunne and Mark Andrews, how they abandoned him as he was being a principal of headmaster. They don't have principals over there, but how he's pretty much angry that these two went on to major success while he hasn't done anything yet. And I figured he would go after Mark Andrews first, and he hasn't done that yet. I know, yes, he's got to be introduced and he's got to be built up a little bit, but there has been no interaction between him, Pete Dunne, or him and Mark Andrews. I find that just why would you have him talk about his friendship with him and these two guys if you're not even going to really have him have any interaction with the other two? Now, I know Pete Dunne's the UK champion, so it wouldn't make any sense, but I would expect him to have something with Mark Andrews and maybe have some kind of feud going into Blackpool. Maybe they do in the next set of tapings. I don't know. Mark Andrews versus Wild Boar. I honestly thought Wild Boar was going to win this match. This was a pretty decent match. Wild Boar ends up losing to Mark Andrews after a Stung Dog Millionaire, and I believe he hit the shooting star press for the 1-2-3. Mark Andrews definitely will be seen again. Him and Flash Morgan Webster do have a match later on in the shows. And then we move on to what I would think was one of the quickest matches of the tournament, Isla Dawn versus Toni Storm. This match, Isla Dawn just came out like a hot fire and just dropped Toni Storm with a drop kick with as the bell rings. Then some punches and kicks in the corner to start the match. Running knee by Dawn for a 2 count. Dawn still all over Storm. Dawn with more boots in the corner for a 2 count. Elbows by Dawn for another 2. Double stomp by Dawn for another 2. Storm then gets some chops and gets back into this. Then Dawn with a fist, then a pump kick to the face of Storm, but Storm with forearms, but Dawn with a knee, then a running knee for another 2. Dawn puts on a modified version of the Rings of Saturn. Storm tries to fight to the ropes, but Dawn stops that immediately. Storm does get her foot one arm free and does get to the ropes. Dawn taunts Storm, then Storm with a combo of stripes, a left boot, then a hip attack in the corner, but Dawn with a kick to the head. Another one Storm catches. She drops Dawn, and Storm hits the Storm Zero for 1, 2, 3. I swear this match was over in 5 minutes or less. I swear this match was over in 5 minutes or less. I was like, that match, it's over? Really? Like that. It just felt like Toni Storm got her ass kicked for 2.5 minutes, or 3 minutes, like 3 or 4 minutes, and then a flurry of, as soon as Dawn taunts her, she hits her with a combo of strikes, left boot, hip attack, and then the Storm Zero for 1, 2, 3. What the hell? And for some reason, Toni Storm has changed her Storm Zero up again, because in the first set of tapings, she was doing that cradle driver into her leg off for her Storm Zero. Now she's doing the Liger Bomb, or whatever it was that she used in the Mae Young Classic. Will they make up their mind on what version of the Storm Zero she's going to use? Because it's just really fucking confusing. Storm helps Dawn up, and they shake hands out of respect. Ligero versus Jordan Devlin. My version, I was watching this a little bit late, so for some reason things wouldn't work right. Ligero and Jordan Devlin, I tried to watch this match many times, but whatever, something was going on. I don't know if the network was having a problem at the time, but I only got to see the last few seconds of this, and Jordan Devlin ends up beating Ligero for the 1, 2, 3. Jordan Devlin's rising up, and of course, eventually he's going to want to face Pete Dunne for the NXT UK Championship. Devlin screams Pete Dunne, they don't even give him a mic, but he doesn't grab a mic. They get up close enough to where the mic that's on the camera that they use, because they all have those built in. All you hear is Pete Dunne, and I don't know exactly what he said after that, but he definitely wants a shot at the championship. We are down to the last 3 episodes already, but we have Dakota Kai versus Rhea Ripley. Rematch of the first Mae Young Classic, as these two had a match in the first Mae Young Classic last year, back when Rhea Ripley had absolutely no character, absolutely no attitude. She was just another woman on the card. Ripley looks like she wants to go for some kind of test of strength, but the fans are psychic. She's just the fans are going all for Dakota Kai. They want to see her win this match. Knuckled off by Ripley, Kai gets down for a couple of 2 counts. Kai reverses and gets back up in the corner, goes for a monkey flip, but Ripley stops that. Then she pie faces Kai, and Kai gives Ripley a kick to the chest to get out of the corner. Back and forth pinning attempts between these two. Ripley talks trash and then shoves Kai. Kai with a drop kick, but Ripley wraps her up. Kai gets out and kicks to the chest of a prone Ripley, then a double foot stomp for a 2 count. Ripley exits the ring. Kai follows and kicks Ripley twice in the chest, sends Ripley back inside for another 2 count. Kai gets caught and dropped by Ripley for a 2 count. Ripley looking on the back of Kai. As I said in the last match that she had, her back was compromised, and with the fact that these were taped in 2 nights, Kai's back is definitely going to be compromised. Face slam by Ripley, followed by a dropkick for a 2 count. Ripley is taking control, drives Kai into the corner, and shoulder shots to Kai. Kai with a surprise roll-up for a 2 count. Dropkick by Ripley for a 2 count for herself. Ripley clover leaves Kai's legs and hangs her up as well. As I said, she would do this for the remainder of the tournament every time she would wrestle. Kai fights for the ropes, but Ripley drags her back. Kai finally gets to the ropes. Kicks from Kai, pushes Ripley off, and Ripley goes for her finisher, but Kai gets out. Gets a kick, and Kai with shots to Ripley. Drop kick by Kai in the corner, then a face wash followed by the crescent haluva kick for a 2. Ripley bails out of the ring. Kai goes for the PK, gets caught. She gets lifted up and dropped face first onto the apron. Back inside the ring, Ripley gets a 2 count. Ripley taunts Kai, but Kai with a flurry of offense. The chiropractor gets blocked. Ripley goes for a riptide, but Kai rolls through for another 2. Shots from Kai, then Ripley ducks her, leads to the riptide for the 1, 2, 3, and Rhea Ripley is 1 of 2 for the finals. Sid Scala was asked about winning an opportunity, and we see him shaking hands with Johnny Saint. Johnny Saint says good luck. Sid Scala apparently got injured, And he said if he gets medically cleared, then in the final episode of these tapings, he would take on Joe Coffey. And I'm just thinking, like, good luck, kid. Devlin is then asked about, does he want Pete Dunne? And he says, yes, I want Pete Dunne. I want to be able to. I want to make changes to this place, and after I win the UK Championship, we will have this place renamed to NXT Ireland, featuring the UK. Oh, buddy. Oh, buddy. That is funny. Flash Morgan Webster and Mark Andrews versus Saxon Huxley and Joseph Connors. I'm just going to say right now, Joseph Connors, just ask Joe Hendry, Joseph Connors should not be in any tag team. This guy is like, he's like a Randy Orton. He does not play well with others. And with them losing this match, as Webster and Andrews would win this match, Saxon Huxley was the one to get pinned. Joseph Connors wanted to get tagged into this match, and Huxley was like, no, I got this, and ends up eating the pin. That doesn't make Connors real happy, and he just absolutely gets destroyed after the match. Then, oh boy, we had ourselves Dave Mastiff versus Tyson T-Bone. These two, oh boy. Tyson T-Bone and Dave Mastiff is just like, he does things just like we say about Keith Lee, we say it about Lars Sullivan. He does shit that a guy his size should not do. This was a good match. I wouldn't say it was a fantastic match. It's kind of hard to have two big guys, which they're not really like tall big guys, but they are big brooding guys, put on a great match. Tyson T-Bone ends up taking the cannonball in the corner for the 1-2-3, and Dave Mastiff, Bomber Dave Mastiff, I gotta remember to say that, Bomber Dave Mastiff beats Tyson T-Bone. And then we had Ginny versus Toni Storm. If anybody did watch the Mae Young Classic, these two did have, I believe it was the second round, I think it was the first or second round that these two wrestled against each other. They lock up and fight for control. Ginny backs Storm in the corner, but ref backs her off. They tie up again, but Storm tries to roll through. No dice. Lock up Storm from behind, transition into a hip toss headlock. Ginny rolls her over for a 2 count. Front face lock by Storm. Ginny fights out. And I'm just going to say it right now, this match lasted, I think, twice or 3 times as long as her match against Isla Dawn. I'm just saying. Storm gets out of the wrist lock and puts on one of her own on Storm, twisting Ginny's arm. Ginny gets out an elbow to Storm, followed by a headlock. Storm shoves her off, then a kick to the gut for a 2 count. Storm with the modified SDF with the legs figure forward. Ginny fights, but Storm has it locked in. Ginny finally tries to get to the ropes, but Storm keeps her body weight on. Ginny finally gets to the ropes. Uppercut in the corner by Storm. Ginny gets a kick to the head, then a Japanese arm drag, which her Japanese arm drag in the corner is one of the more beautiful transitions I think I've seen. Just like, it just comes out of nowhere. She's in the corner, and her opponent comes after her, and just next thing you know, she's getting they're getting Japanese arm dragged into the corner. She gets a 1 count. Ginny starts to stomp away on Storm. Slap to the chest of Storm. Ginny starts stomping away again. Storm then gets a whip and looks like a trip by Ginny, which they said it was a trip. They said it looked like a trip, or maybe Storm's knee buckled. Who knows? They didn't show a replay of it, so it was either not supposed to happen or it was just a happy accident. And when she tripped her, and when she fell, I mean, like, they were in the corner, and she whipped around, and either she tripped her or she fell, and she went all the way to the other side of the ring. Ginny gets a 2 count after that one. Armbar, chin bar combo by Ginny, working on the arm of Storm. Storm gets back up, but Ginny hair slams her down for a 1 count. Ginny starts raining in the fist to the back of Storm. Back to the chin armbar combo, working the way out Storm. Storm drags out that combo of strikes by Storm, double headbutt. Both women are down. NXT chant from the Birmingham crowd. These guys, like I said, brought their A game. I know they do 6 episodes, so I have a feeling Triple H does 3 episodes, and then the next day does 3 more episodes. Unlike the Full Sail crowd, which is the same crowd every single time, minus a here or there, the two, they were in, Cambridge and now Birmingham. These crowds have never felt like they're just tired, why are we here so long? It just feels fresh every single time. Both women start to trade shots on their knees, and then they get onto their feet. Storm with a nasty snap German, then a hip attack into the fisherman suplex for a 2 count. Sony Storm snaps German suplexes like that. Blink and you miss it. Storm gets to the top rope, but Jenny gets up and kicked to the head of Storm, but Storm with a headbutt, and Jenny with a palm strike. Storm with another headbutt, Jenny double drop kick to both of Storm's knees, catches her and hits a modified X Factor in the corner for a 2 count. Like, Toni Storm's on the top rope, her legs are on the middle rope, Jenny comes up, hits her with both of them. Storm's falling forward. She grabs her and hits her with an X Factor. It was just like, holy shit, I've never seen that done. That would make probably X-Pac jealous for how she hit that. Fist of Storm by Jenny, who picks her up and looks for a ripcord clothesline. Jenny, but she misses. Jenny with a rolling axe kick for a 2. Storm's leg gets on the rope. Jenny hits that rolling axe kick. The rolling axe kick. And she grabs Storm's leg that's close to the ropes, but where she held her, she didn't have the right position for her arm to keep that from falling onto the rope. She had her like near her hip instead of around her knee area. So 1, 2, and Storm was able to power her leg over to the rope. Which, if that's her finisher, Jenny's finisher, that's a good way to protect it so Storm doesn't kick out and it still looks strong. But the only way that Storm was able to get out of that finisher, get pinned, was to get her leg on the rope. Out of the corner, Storm leaps over Jenny, another snap German into the Storm Zero for the 1, 2, 3. And your winner, and moving on to the finals, is Toni Storm. This match that's coming up in the last episode, Toni Storm versus Rhea Ripley, could have been the Mae Young Classic finals, but it wasn't because Io Shirai made it to the finals. Post Storm on the apron, a handshake from Johnny Saint, where Ripley comes out. Both women stare down in the title. Ripley asks, "You think you're going to beat me?" Storm shakes her head. Yes. Ripley shoves her, taunts her, and walks off as Johnny Saint holds Toni Storm back. Then we had episode 11, and I thought, we're just going to get Millie McKenzie won that one match. No, we had Millie McKenzie and Xia Brookside versus Charlie Morgan and Kelly Kelly. Charlie Morgan, I believe, was on one of the first few episodes. Didn't really impress me. I still don't understand why Killer Kelly was not in the UK Championship, Women's Championship tournament. I think over Nina Samuels or Millie McKenzie, you should have had Killer Kelly. I'm just saying. Millie McKenzie and Xia Brookside win this match as Xia is with a jackknife, Millie with a spear to Morgan when the referee is not looking, and Xia with a jackknife cover for the 3 count. We do have Pete Dunne in the back as he is ready for his match with Jordan Devlin. Eddie Dennis versus Ashton Smith. This match has been building for the majority of this tapings because Eddie Dennis was like Ashton Smith. When Ashton Smith took on Wolfgang, I believe it was in the episode before this type of tapings happened, or was at the beginning. He was being asked the very next episode about what's next for him. Eddie Dennis came in, and then they guys have just been going back and forth. Eddie Dennis ends up winning with the 7th bridge and next stomp driver for a 3 count. Eddie Dennis, he's getting pushed. I still want to see what happens. I want to see what happens when, I want to see him go up against Mark Andrews. He's not going up against Pete Dunne yet. He's just starting new. He's going to be Mark Andrews first. It would not surprise me if they have Mark Andrews and Flash Morgan Webster go for the tag team titles. Maybe they're in that maybe they're in a tournament to decide it. Eddie Dennis cost those guys the match by taking out Mark Andrews. I have no idea. They did show us what happened last week with Joseph Connors and Saxon Huxley. And then we had Saxon Huxley versus Joseph Connors. Joseph Connors ends up winning with a package DDT or the DLD for a 1, 2, 3, the Don't Look Down. We did have a nice little video package for the NXT UK Women's Championship. Toni Storm says she has always felt pressure. Children dream of this and want glory, but to be a history maker, there is going to be pressure. You are going to look at the history of the NXT Women's title, and you will see her at number 1, and you cannot take that from her. She is going to raise the bar. Her whole life has led to this point. It is not something that she wants. It's something that she needs. Rhea is one of the best pure wrestlers in the world. She is tough, powerful, and strong, but she handle the pressure of do what Toni can do. Rhea will not be the first NXT Women's Champion. Tony says she has worked 9 years for this and she has sacrificed and gives everything just for the match. This is time. It is her time. This is Tony time. That was for Tony Storm. They did have one for Rhea Ripley as well. I think I got that, man. No? Yeah, we did. Jordan Devlin is back getting ready for his match against Pete Dunne. And then we have what Rhea Ripley had. Rhea says this is a new Rhea Ripley. She has come to the UK to absolutely rip this women's division apart. Xia Brooks' side, ripped apart. Dakota Kai, ripped apart. Toni Storm will be another victim who will be ripped apart. Rhea says she has seen that what Tony can do, but the last step for her is Rhea Ripley. Her name will be the one on that title. She will be the first ever NXT Women's Championships. Toni Storm this is where it all ends. So 2 video packages for both women. I like the fact that they hyped this up and we didn't just rush to the finish, because they could have rushed to the finish and kept Jordan Devlin versus Pete Dunne as the final match of this set of tapings. But this set of tapings was all about the UK Women's Championship, and everything else in between it was just filler. Even though Jordan Devlin and Pete Dunne put on one hell of a match, the biggest 4 things of this entire match. Pete Dunne was like Jordan Devlin up until the end was trying his best to keep Pete Dunne from doing any joint manipulation, running Spanish fly off of the steel steps on the outside, and then a Spanish fly off of the top rope. Jordan Devlin came oh so close to winning the UK Championship, but just like I believe he beat Danny Burch in their match, Pete Dunne wins this one by submission by putting in the armbar, switching it around where he is on top, and then just joint manipulation on the fingers until Jordan Devlin taps out. Jordan Devlin impressed me heavily in this show. Jordan Devlin is definitely going to be somebody to look out for. And I still think that UK needs a 4th. I think UK needs a 4th title. Not this year, but next year. I think after the UK division establishes their 3 titles overall. I mean, the UK title is well established. The women's title is just getting started after this set of tapings, and the tag team titles will be decided at Blackpool. After we get through maybe another 2 takeovers or so, we need to see a 4th title, because they're stacked at the UK Championship level, and not everyone's going to be able to fight for it. Right now, we've had this match was, I believe, we had Noam Dar in the first half of the set of tapings. We had Danny Burch, and now we had Jordan Devlin. It's just like, My question is, and they didn't ask this at the end of this match, who is going to take this title away from Pete Dunne? Whoever he faces at Blackpool, whether it's one of the Mustache Mountain, one of the Coffee Brothers, Wolfgang, Jack Gibson, I don't care. Whoever Pete Dunne wrestles at the UK TakeOver Blackpool will beat Pete Dunne. Pete Dunne will hold the title for over 600 days by then. It's time for someone else to win. And then the final episode of these tapings starts with a highlight package of the UK Women's Championship tournament, from the opening of the first show to every single match so far. And then we had what was supposed to be Joe Coffey versus Sid Scala. Sid Scala came out in a suit and said, well, I'm not able to compete, but I'm able to say this is my replacement, and it is Tyler Bate. Of course, this stemmed from the attack by the Coffey Brothers and Wolfgang, which I don't know what. I hope they have a name when we get to Blackpool, or when we get to the next set of tapings, because just saying Wolfgang and the Coffey Brothers is getting kind of tiring. Before Sid Scala comes out, though, Joe Coffey, who's coming out, he tells Wolfgang and his brother, I got this, it's just Sid Scala. And then Tyler Bate comes out, Joe Coffey, of course, then out comes Mark Coffey and Wolfgang. They come out. They really don't get involved in the match much at all. Then out comes Trent Seven with a visible knee brace on to support his boy. The match ends in a DQ. I don't know if Tyler Bate is the winner. They didn't really say anything. Maybe it's a no contest, because Mark Coffey and Wolfgang come in and start beating on Trent Seven and Tyler Bate as Trent Seven comes in. All you hear is British strong style and bruiserweight from the crowd. It takes a good minute or two, and then Pete Dunne finally comes out. British strong style chases off the heels, and we know this isn't going to happen at Blackpool, because they already have Pete Dunne's going to be defending his title against somebody. But in the next set of tapings or two, we're going to see British Strong Style versus Wolfgang and the Coffee Brothers, and that should be a great match. I will definitely have as much as I can for that match. That should be great. Ligero versus Dan Maloney. Dan Maloney is just a jobber to the stars. Ligero ends up picking up the win here. Amir Jordan and Kenny Williams versus Zach Gibson and who was it? And they're going by a tag team of Grizzled Young Vets. It's Zach Gibson and I can't remember his name, and we did talk about him earlier. He was the guy who took on Tyler Bate in the earlier ones. I can't, like, there's so much going on that this is like one of those things. It was James Drake, James Drake. Zach Gibson and James Drake versus Flash Morgan Webster, and I think it was Flash Morgan. Hold on. Yeah, Amir Jordan and Kenny Williams versus James Drake and Zach Gibson. Zach Gibson and James Drake win this one by taking out, and it was looked like he was going to go for a tombstone, but it turned into some kind of backstabbers combination, and they end up winning. My one gripe is that Kenny Williams is taking the losses, and I don't know what they're doing with him. Kenny Williams is a darn good wrestler, and I would like to see this guy actually get some kind of push-ish in the UK division, but he seems to just be on the jobber status for the NXT UK division, and I just think that sucks. Then, of course, we had the main event, which was the UK Women's Championship. Toni Storm versus Rhea Ripley, who would become the first ever UK Women's Champion. And after this match, I'll have a little talk and discussion of why this match ended how it did. Crowd wanted Toni Storm to win this thing. No ifs, ands, or buts about it. Bell rings, Ripley shoves Storm and taunts her. Storm with the forearms, then they kick to Ripley and a hip attack to Ripley. And they're already questioning, is this match going to be over already? But Ripley falls outside the ring. Storm hits Ripley with a suicide dive on the outside. She's in a corner area of the gated ringside area. Storm goes for the hip attack, but misses because Ripley moves out of the way. Ripley stomps away at Storm and then tosses her into the apron, then kicks Storm in the knee. Then the ref checks on Storm, and Ripley's back in on the attack. Ripley goes for a suplex on the apron. Storm stops that. Storm looks for Storm Zero on the apron, which, why would you even want to do that? But Ripley backdrops her onto the apron. Ref checks on Storm. It's just amazing how Toni Storm can cry on cue. Like, she has the emotional things to be able to show that she is pain on cue. She is like one of the best sellers in all of WWE. Storm beats the count at 8. Ripley back onto the ground and pound. Storm tossed her into the corner. Ripley follows up with a shoulder in the corner. Ripley tosses her into another corner hard and works on Storm's back. Crowd trying to get Storm back into this as Ripley puts her in a body scissors. Storm turns around and starts forearming Ripley's jaw to her forearms to Ripley's jaw. Storm tries to fight, but Ripley drops the knee of Storm onto her, then Clover leaves Storm as well, hanging her like the others. Storm fights for the ropes and gets to them, but Ripley with a kick to the hand as she let her go. Storm slaps Ripley, then goes for a German, but can't get it. Ripley goes for a suplex. Storm gets out of that, hits a snap German suplex twice. Ripley counters the third one with an elbow. Storm with a headbutt, and then they gets a third German suplex. But it's not a snap, it is a German suplex with a pinning combination bridge. Shining Wizard of Swords by Storm, then a running hip attack in the corner, then a double knees for a 2 count. Storm with kicks to the head of Ripley, but Ripley bounces up with a drop kick for a 2 count. We get Evolution chants. The reason we had Evolution chants is because this was taped before WWE Evolution, and I believe the announcement for Evolution was already out there, so everyone knew about Evolution. Ripley charges into the post, bends her shoulder as Storm moves out of the way. Storm goes for a roll-up and only gets a 2 count. Storm Zero is blocked. Storm is dropped to the outside. Back inside, Ripley gets another 2. Riptide gets blocked. Storm Zero gets stopped due to the Storm's back injury. Leads to a Riptide for the 1, 2, 3. Rhea Ripley is your first and finally can be recognized as your first ever UK Women's Champion. After the match, of course, Triple H and Johnny Saint enter the ring to present the title to Ripley. Shakes hands with Triple H. Shakes hands with Johnny Saint as he hands her the title. They show the whole locker room on the ramp celebrating this win for Ripley. Triple H hugs her again, gives her some words of advice. Then Saint hugs her. You can see her actually say, I think, thank you to her. Then Triple H and Saint exit the ring as Ripley celebrates her title as the show fades to black. Now, why did Rhea Ripley win the UK Women's Championship? This goes all the way back to the Mae Young Classic. Rhea Ripley was not supposed to beat Tegan Nox. Rhea Ripley was supposed to lose to Tegan Nox. The plans going into this set of tapings before Tegan Nox got injured was for Toni Storm to win the UK Women's Championship because Toni Storm was going to lose to Tegan Nox in the Mae Young Classic final. So the build-up to Blackpool would been Toni Storm and Tegan Nox, with Tegan Nox going on to face Toni Storm. Now, was Toni Storm lose the UK title, women's title, had that happen? I have no idea. But it was supposed to be Toni Storm was supposed to win this match. This is plans that was that were thrown out the window when Tegan, because this was recorded. This set of tapings was done after the Mae Young Classic was finished being taped. So Tegan Nox's injury just threw everything out the way. Everything. Tegan Nox was supposed to win the Mae Young Classic. She was supposed to beat Rhea Ripley, beat Toni Storm. So Toni Storm would have won the UK Championship and beat her, and then you would have had the build-up storyline. Well, I beat you in the Mae Young Classic. I wasn't even in this tournament, so I'm going to want this. I want a match with you for your title, and it would have led to the NXT TakeOver Blackpool. Now, why are we getting 2 episodes a week since week 3 of UK? Simple. This match was this title was supposed to be defended at Evolution. There was supposed to be an 8th match at Evolution, which I guess was supposed to be Rhea Ripley versus Isla Dawn or one of those women. And the fact that these set of tapings weren't even going to come close to being done before Evolution, when they started doing tapings and everything for this show back in July, they didn't start adding these to the WWE Network on a weekly basis until halfway through the Mae Young Classic, so halfway through September. Had they done this thing right, and I know why they didn't. They wanted to start the Mae Young Classic and have the Mae Young Classic get all the way to Evolution. So instead of, they sacrificed getting this all done, and so by the time we got to the Mae Young, by the time we got to Evolution, we would have a UK Women's Championship match there. They decided to wait and wait and wait, and they put it on, and we're at the point right now where we're going to have 2 episodes a week until we get to Blackpool, which is, I believe, the 12th of January. So all of December and half of January is all going to be like this. After Blackpool, which I'm sure they're going to do some kind of taping or something, after Blackpool, they're going to probably do an aftermath show like they do for the regular NXT. So that would be the next episode of NXT UK, which will mean absolutely nothing because no storylines ever get advanced on aftermath shows. And then we should be on 1 episode, because now that this title is in continuity and the UK tag team titles are going to be won at TakeOver Blackpool, that has already been confirmed. Those champions will be decided at Blackpool. Everything will flow back and we'll be down to 1 episode after Blackpool as we head on forward. So that is why we have been getting 2 episodes, and after everything gets caught up and we get to take over Blackpool, because there was set of tapings in October. I think they did one set of tapings instead of 2 days. I think they might have canceled the second one because I already know, I didn't see the spoilers or anything, but I already know that they have to be building to Blackpool in the November 23rd and 24th set of tapings. So we're going to get a lot, 12 episodes. There are 6 weeks left until Blackpool, I'm pretty sure. 6 or 7 weeks. So that's 12 to 14 episodes that they have to get through by the time we get to TakeOver. But that is your NXT catch-up, pretty much, as we got through the NXT Women's UK Championship. It is now in continuity. What sucks for Rhea Ripley is that she's almost held this title for 100 days, and it's only going to be recognized for about a week. This coming Wednesday, it'll be a week. that's going to suck for her. But that is going to be all. I will see you guys tomorrow for Monday Night Raw, which will have a new look to it. And when you see this review for our Monday Night Raw review this coming Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday as well. Takeover UK is going to be at the end of December because it's just we're getting prepared for NXT, and it's just too much at a time. Monday Night Raw, 3 hours of Monday Night Raw is already a slog on Mondays. Why would I want to have? It's just too much to do 3 episodes. Now, when they get after Blackpool, and probably after the Aftermath show, I'm probably not going to watch. It depends on what happens on the Aftermath show. I would probably watch it still, but I might not review it just for the simple fact that it's an Aftermath show, unless they do actually tape something that's worth watching for UK. And then next week on this time, Loaded's going to return, so I may watch Loaded. I'm going to watch Loaded, of course. I may do a review for Loaded. Let me know if you want to see that. Find me on Twitter at TheFrance. Find me on twitch.tv/TheFrance08. Hit that subscribe button. Comment down below. Like or dislike this video. Let me know what you think of the NXT UK division. Are you watching it? Or are you like, it's just too much wrestling in a week? Because we do have, that's 8 hours of wrestling right then and there. And of course we have pay-per-views every so often. And with new takeovers, that's going to be more a month every so often. But I'm getting out of here. See you tomorrow for Monday Night Raw. Hopefully WWE will actually do something instead of just giving us a terrible show. But I doubt it. So then, I'm out of here. You guys have a good one.